My name is Nati. Hi, my name is Gosnati Maluleke, and I'm currently serving as the lead at the Prayer Factory, South Africa. So my leadership journey has been transformational, challenging, and had a few hurdles. So I want to share that with you. My leadership journey really started when I was in high school. I was in grade 9, if I remember well, where I started serving at the SLCO committee. I was part of the committee in the Learners Student Organization, where I served. I think I initially served as someone who was organizing prayers, part of the organizing team, but really leading prayer. And then I think I grew through the ranks of that organization until in 2012 I served as the chairperson of that organization. In the same year, 2012, I also served as a youth leader at our local church at the time, Bethesda Christian Church. It was a rare opportunity, a wonderful lifetime opportunity that I got from the leaders of the church to lead, and that was very beneficial to my journey. One interesting thing I think I picked up over the years, on particularly on Christian leadership, was really to learn how to handle different personalities, different scenarios. Our journey, and I'm saying our journey because I would like to include in my journey the significant role that was played by my pastor Ebenezer. um, our journey was so dynamic, and it was a roller coaster ride of some sort. And so it was a journey that was not necessarily easy, but a journey that truly produced in me, I believe, someone who has the tenacity and the test of time to do the work that we are doing currently. I think the biggest challenge that I faced as a leader was in 2016, when I got my girlfriend then, who is now my wife. We got pregnant out of wedlock. We were still students. Like, yeah, I think I was 21 at the time, and of course, although I had a very good upbringing as a child and also a very strong and intentional mentorship program that fed into my life as a youth, varsity had its own dynamic, and I think I lost my way. We fell pregnant. And that year was challenging. You can imagine, you are 21, you are a leader at church. I was playing bass guitar, and that's where now Let's Go to Glory comes into the picture. I'm playing bass guitar at church. I am now faced with this reality. And I remember very well, vividly, that we were only probably 3 weeks, 4 weeks pregnant when I went home. I traveled home. I went to my parents and I told them. And the second person I told, or the second category of people I told, was to drive to a University of Venda to meet my mentor and Pastor Ebenezer and say to him, look, I messed up, and I'm so afraid to even go and tell the old man, that's Bishop Mtilin. So, and I went to the Bishop Mtilin. Eventually, I spoke to him, and it was such a relief that these men, and of course, I also went to my pastor in Let's Go to Glory, Apostle Manana. These men were so embracive. They just embraced me. They just cushioned me of the backlash, of the guilt, of the I had messed up, and they, instead of chucking me out, they really embraced me and hid my shame. And for that, I'm always grateful. I'm forever grateful. I can never see myself outside of that effort from these three men and from our parents and from everyone who decided that they would they would stand with us and treat us as those who had fallen into the trap, however, could be rescued and rehabilitated and reconciled. And that's what happened. And I think that event marked the beginning of a difficult time, but a really formative years of my leadership style. Yes, yes, of course. And then I got an opportunity, and I must say this is one of the greatest opportunities, though it was lined with there was let's say it was a dark cloud with a silver lining. The opportunities I got was to serve under a wonderful man of God, Ebenezer Mtileni, whom I love dearly. And those of you who know me would know that I'm a true reflection, of the man, of his work, um, and truly a custodian of his legacy on earth. And one of the things that was an opportunity and a preparation in disguise was that as we were leading in our local church branch in Pretoria, there came a time where the man of God needed to take sabbatical because he was not feeling well. And at that time, I then started leading in the church, and it was one of the most difficult times to lead. Being young as I was, I think probably I was now 27, 28. I had to stand up and take up the leading role in a church, and that was in a period of a year when the man of God returned and ultimately he passed on to be with the Lord. I then again resumed the same role. It was one of the most difficult times, but also one of the most formative of the character and of what we have become so far. And I'm just so grateful. In hindsight, I'm grateful. Instead of me standing here and complaining, I really, 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 genuinely, really just appreciate God for having given us even the stamina to stand, and also giving us an opportunity to reflect and learn. So that has been such a great opportunity. Yeah, well, I have had a significant impact. I want to believe on others. Through all these stages and all these years of ministry, I have had the grace to lead in wonderful organizations and lead wonderful people. I have connections now with people that I led with and led during my high school days. Those who are coming in and said, the messages that you taught us then have been the ground that we stand and have established us in a wonderful way theologically, and in our experience of Christ. And one of the things that I'm so grateful of is that whenever I stand back to reflect, our message has never changed. Um, Regardless of what must would have happened, our message remained the same. When I was as a learner in high school, I preached about Christ. I did not have exposure to TV. I was not studying the man of God that I've come to be privileged enough to find out and discover on the internet and study, and some of them meet over the years. I was not studying any of those men. I was just feeding on the word of the Lord. And as we fed on the word of the Lord, young as we were, the Lord just began to usher in realities of his kingdom that are just phenomenal to think about. And that for me was a wonderful experience. And having to look back now and trace our roots, it's good to know, and it's important that we are noting the fact that the message has never changed. We have been consistent about the Christ experience, about what we are and who we have become in Christ. And there are many stories to tell about the kind of reception we got over the years. But ultimately, I think the one thing we can say is that the message is still that which has always been. I don't think there are many things I would want to change in my life. As difficult as it has been over the years to remain in Christ, to lead, um, even now being in a transitional zone, I don't think that there will be many things that I would want to change. I mean, I've had the best experience of having the support of my parents over the years, best experience of being mentored by one of the, in my own view, one of the most wonderful men I knew. And of course, even now, many men who are pouring into my life in a positive way. So I've been so privileged, to have people who could overlook my mistakes, overlook and not define me by what has happened or what I did, but looked at me not in a natural or carnal mind, but looked at me as one who was being called and is called to the ministry and to serve the people of God. So I don't see any place where I would change um, any of my experiences. Yeah, so the future is bright. The future is, it looks good. It looks good. And I'm not saying this because we have a sense of certainty that seemingly is unfounded. I'm saying this because of a sense of the hand of the Lord that is upon our lives, upon myself, upon my wife, upon our family, and the work of the Lord that is calling us into. And because of that assurance that He wants to do His work through our lives, I have a sense that we are getting into good times, we're getting into amazing times ahead. And I'm excited about that future, and I'm careful to ask Him every day for His mercy and for His grace to carry us through it. But I must say that I'm ecstatic about it.